Hi everyone. I should be live right now. Uh, so we should be live. Waiting for the thing to refresh. There's a warning. There's a warning on the screen. Should be fine. Normally I check. Is the audio okay? It's the new microphone. I don't know. Do I sound better or worse? Or does it sound the same? I don't know. How's it sound? You tell me. It's a bit taller than my old microphone, so it's a bit in the way. So I'm just trying to figure out because I haven't got a boom arm. So it's kind of just this object in my face. Is it better than the old mic? Would you say, or does it sound worse? How do you think? How's it sound? I've literally this is the first live chat of your channel I've partaken in. I love your videos. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. Sounds clearer, loud and clear. Okay. Hopefully it's a noticeable difference because it cost a lot more. So it's like 70 quid. So thanks to the patrons and the members and all the people who do super chats and stuff, and the ones who just watch the videos in ordinarily. I'm hoping it blocks out outside sound. That's kind of my hope. And if I kind of drink on stream, I'm hoping it doesn't pick it up. So we're just going to test that out now. If that sounded awful, let me know. I've still got to mess around with the settings and stuff. Maybe I can fix it in post. I'm not sure. Or I can just move away if I try and drink something. I don't want like there's certain sounds I just don't want to come across. That was almost a sentence. What? Had a gulp too. Goddamn. All right, let me try and move away. Let me try it again. Let me try it again. How about now? How was that? I can drink quieter. It's clearer. Maybe try different distances. Yeah. All right. Let's try this again. All right. Did you guys hear that? It's probably the worst way to do this. Honestly, but no. Thanks everyone with the support on the channel. Some of the videos I've done. Still, Jesus Christ. I'll have to mess around with the settings. Drinking ASMR. Jesus. Oh no. Just you hate to see it. It's just I don't want certain sounds, but we move and yeah, it's just yeah, it's just a lot of people joined real quick. Maybe this is a better slot. I don't know. It's not off-putting. Yeah, thanks. No worries. So some people, I don't personally, I don't like it. So that's why I don't want to have it in the thing. There's still some stuff from last week. I just haven't had it in me to kind of get through it to do videos on. But stuff I wanted to cover. There's more I've got like saved on my phone and here and there. It's not off-putting. All right, cool. We move then. I did want to talk about apparently the interest rates are less likely to rise after inflation surprise. So this is from the Bank of England. Oh no, this is from the BBC. Sorry, interest rates are predicted to rise less sharply after the UK saw a surprise drop in inflation in June. So you know, experts say it is now under less pressure to act after inflation slowed to 7.9%, even though we're still like double the eurozone, I think, which is madness. It means UK inflation has dropped to its lowest in more than a year, but the problem is obviously products are still going up by 7%. Quality is slight. Grateful, but much clearer and more audible. That's good. I think they're still going to raise interest rates. Honestly, I can see them. I can see them still. I can see them still raising interest rates and stuff like that. The Bank of England is run, in my opinion, it's run by clowns. I'll be honest. I don't like him. I genuinely don't like him. Um, it's a lot of the central banks. In my opinion, went for the wrong strategy. You had a lot of supply side inflation, and so they decided to raise interest rates, and it's kind of been the doctrine with the central banks. Just like kind of post Great Recession, we had a lot of like kind of countries go for austerity, which we know didn't work, and they knew austerity didn't work, and they still did it anyways, and that's it just frustrated me to no end. So it didn't did it work elsewhere though? Did honestly did the interest rate did the interest rate increases actually help, or was it that these countries went through a price shock because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and then kind of um, as countries adapted, the inflationary shocks went down. That seems to be the case. As countries made different deals with like Qatar and the US to supply, liquid nitrogen, liquid what was it LNG, liquid nitrogen gas, or whatever it's called. Um, you know, there was kind of this massive surge in prices, and then it went down after a bit because because countries made deals and actually got things over the line. You need to let past inflation go. Don't create new. Honestly, from what I've read, the Bank of England are actually going to be fueling inflation with the interest rate rises. It's going to create a doom loop. Um, so yeah, that is it's very concerning. Um, so it's just not good. If you have any questions, post it in the live chat, this community section here. As you can see, we've got a couple of questions. It's always nice to have more, but again, yeah, it's been pretty quiet in the political realm, honestly. So Parliament's on recess. Rishi Sunak's kind of keeping his head down because he's bad at interviews, stuff like that. So I don't. It's been quiet, but there's been a lot of other kinds of news outside of Parliament, kind of the ramifications of what they've done or what they failed to do, that kind of stuff. So I did want to talk about this article here from the BBC, which is that Co-op warns rising crime could create no-go areas for shops. So essentially, what's happening is the shoplifting levels are so bad, and I don't blame people for shoplifting, food and things like that, because you need to live. And there's not much the shops they can do. They can ban you from the shop, but if you just walk in, um, what can you do to stop that? Um, so if they just carry on shoplifting, if the police don't do anything, then there's nothing the shops can do. They can throw you out. Security guards can throw you out, try and detain you for a bit, but realistically, there's not much they can do. There are about 1,000 cases of crime, shoplifting, and antisocial behaviour in its shops every day in the 6 months to June. The chain said this is a co-op. It cited figures indicating police do not attend most retail crimes because they don't care. The police, honestly, it's either they have given up, they just don't have the resources to deal with it, or they just don't care. We've read stories like the police are going to attend less mental health crises. Um, the San Francisco has cops at every store now. That so many stores have closed because of robbers. Yeah, it's they can claim things on insurance, but if it's just petty theft, there's not much you can do. Evening, chatty rat. It's just gotten to a point where it's just the system. This is a country that is failing. We've discussed kind of over the week how people have gone weeks without food, things like that. 2 weeks with minimal food. Interest rate rises are killing people, or not. Metaphorically speaking. But all in all, like these rate rises, these kind of incidents here, this is the sign of the system crumbling. Genuinely, this is when shoplifting goes up. The co-op said a freedom of information request had shown many police forces did not prioritize retail crime, with on average 71% of serious retail crime not responded to by police. And so I don't blame the police to an extent, but at the same time, like they're not dealing with violent crime that much either, or at least they're not prioritizing that. They're just I don't know what they're doing. I genuinely do not know what they're doing. The National Police Chiefs Council said forces were doing everything possible to tackle offenders and support retailers in reducing shoplift and attacks on retail staff, but they're not. The cop called for an urgent change from police, which makes sense. The cop would obviously want to prioritize or partially prioritize, kind of retail incidents because that's their business at the end of the day. Um, Co-op store manager in Leeds, David, said shoplifting has always been a problem, but things had really changed since the pandemic. He says, it feels like these offenders can simply come in, take what they want, they live in our communities, do what they want, they steal your livelihood from you, they come in with bags, sacks, or clothing which can conceal hundreds of pounds worth of stock, coffee, meats and spirits. I mean, hundreds of pounds? Are you telling me someone's stealing hundreds of pounds of, like, food? Like, genuinely, like, you would struggle to carry that much out of a shop. Mad should plat it. What? Should do what? Plat what? But yeah, Zara, a co-op store manager. I thought it meant Zara the store. Jesus. In East London said, what was most frightening was when the criminals clambered over the kiosk and just tipped the products into their bag. Wow, that's mad. So what they do is they just climb over the counter basically and just rob stuff. She's saying, I've spent 20 years at the co-op. It's worse now than it's ever been before, she said. We called the police. We've been told to call 101. 101 is the non-emergency line, so it's been deprioritized. It's being normalized, but colleagues are terrified. Their families are worried for them every day because if you try and stop one of these people, they could assault you. They could assault you anyways. Honestly, yeah, security tags on baby formula. God, there's a there it is. Yeah, I've still got it. There's God damn, go away. No, I don't reject all. Save and exit, bloody cookies. They have security tags on milk. On milk, like milk is one. It's stupid expensive now, right? They have security tags on milk. On milk, like this is mad. I've never in my life I've never seen this in person. I've never seen this. I've seen I've seen them hide coffee, or was that a picture? I can't remember now. There's shops in England where you cannot just pick up the coffee and go to the counter. They will you take the empty jar there or something, and they will give you like like a glass jar of coffee, like the one you want. I have seen them do that with deodorant though, because people just steal deodorant. So they've just hidden the deodorant. Like that's mental. Thatcher would be proud. Yeah, Thatcher the milk snatcher. Milk still costs 80p per litre. Yo, I don't, bro. It's not 80p per litre here. So I'm going to cover this in a separate video, just all of this. I'm going to try to anyways. So we're going to just do a segment on that soon. Hopefully. There's more stuff I wanted to cover. Oh, wait, there's questions. Oh, my bad. Questions. So, Ellie said, according to a report on Science Business, headline, I'm not familiar with Science Business. Headline: leading MEP urges Commission not to compromise with UK over Horizon Europe Association. Sunak once again have delayed the Horizon decision until after the summer holidays, which is nice. He gets summer holidays. Apparently the EU is playing hardball now. Smells to me like associate membership won't happen. Do you have any info on the UK's alternative plan to team with Japan? Did you mean Etal? I'm not sure what you put there, but we got security tags on milk in this country. We are not the same as Germany. I'm going to see what that means at all. I've heard stories where they've said we're going to team up with Japan and the USA and Switzerland, etc. But I don't know how serious they are because, like I've said, the problem with working with the US is, first of all, they keep the good stuff to themselves. They've got DARPA, which gave us Metal Gear. But they've got like their own kind of secret like military operations and stuff. So you're gonna be limited on how much cooperation you get in most areas, right? So you've got that problem. Secondly, the time zone problem. The US has four time zones. I'm gonna say across the United States. You have universities that are spread across that. I think MIT is based in Massachusetts, which is in Boston, I believe. No, Massachusetts is its own state. No, Massachusetts, I believe, is its own state. And then you might have, say, a university in Washington. They're like 4 hours apart or something. Et al. Equals Latin. Ultra. I ain't gonna pronounce that, dog. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't got it in me today. Got cooked at badminton this morning, so I ain't got languages in me today. I got smoked by my friend, so that was fun. Anyways, as I was saying, So that the problem with the US is they are secretive about certain things, and also the fact that the time zones are a problem. That's the first major. That's one of the major problems you have. You don't know what kind of funding the Americans are going to put up. You're dealing with Congress potentially. Congress is a nightmare. So that's not going to go well. The Boston is in the state of. Oh, I thought Boston's its own state. Oh, okay. Boston. Boston. That's how they speak, right? I think Teddy Atlas is from Boston. I'm not going to say the accent anymore. Anyways, so you've got that problem with the time zones. Making a deal with Japan is trickier because Japan there's a language barrier there. You know, I think I'm not sure how much English is taught in Japan. I'm not sure if they teach kind of English from England or American English, for example. But there's a massive language barrier there for a start. The other problem is the time zones. I think Japan's like 8 or 9 hours ahead. I don't know. Let's see. Let's Google it quick. Let's see what's this. Japanese time zone. They're +9 GMT, so they are 9 hours ahead of us. And see if we see what's the Boston time zone, right? Boston is -4, so Boston's 4 hours behind us, right? And Japan is 9 hours ahead of us. So if you're trying to do kind of research projects with say a university in Japan and a university in Boston, right? One is 4 hours behind us, one is 9 hours ahead of us. How the hell are you going to get anything going like that? Genuinely. When World Cups, Olympics are in Japan, it's a pain. Bro, I'm telling. Look here, my boy, in a way, was fighting, right? He was fighting in Japan. The fight was at like 11 a.m. Who fights at 11 a.m.? Why, in a way? I missed the fight because I was at work. Gonna cry. It was a really good fight. Recommend you guys watch it. But how would you do a research project with a university in Tokyo and a university in Boston? And the other problem you have is if you wanted them to come to the UK to do the research project, they've increased the visa fees. So for them to come here, they're gonna have to pay significant amounts of money to live here. Could you imagine like you telling brothers from like Tokyo to move here? Like you could live in one of Tokyo has its own problems, just like most cities do. But you could live in the beautiful country of Japan with really nice places, or you can live in England. I'm picking Japan. I don't even speak Japanese. I'd pick Japan. Or you're asking people to leave like Boston or the USA, right? To come here, really? And plus the fact that they pay tax here and they'd have to pay tax in the US. It don't make sense. Like this whole thing is a gimmick. What he's done this, right? This idea we're going to do a research deal with Japan and America is baloney. Honestly, it's absolute nonsense. The reason they're doing this is they're trying to say to you, look, you either reduce the price or we're going to do a deal with these other countries, right? That also have really strong science. Like the US is very strong in the science kind of industry. Japan also has strong kind of research and things like that in certain fields, right? The UK is also not a slouch. You got three kind of major powers there. The time zones are the problem. It's just stupid, honestly. It's just stupid. I can see people making jokes in the chat. I'm not. I don't know what you guys are joking about, but fair. But this whole thing has just been about trying to lowball the EU. Honestly, that's why they've done this. St. John's NF. That's where I'd go if I could escape Plague Island. The guy saying he's called themselves European Research Group. They haven't a clue. They're a bunch of clowns. Honestly, the ERG are a bunch of clowns. Isn't ton metric? Yes. I think ton is metric, yes. New Zealand's become an associate member of Horizon. Again, how much can New Zealand contribute to Horizon? That's one of the question marks. But again, New York, New Zealand want a lot of closer integration, I think, into the EU. The problem is the UK are trying to lowball the EU. That's all it is. And I don't think it's about we don't have the money. Obviously, we do. It's the fact that it's a culture war thing. I think it's a culture war thing, genuinely. What's the British measure for a ton? Farthing. There is no imperial hour. I mean, Britain has the imperial hour. We, it's every hour is imperial hour in Britain. But this kind of thing, right? And it's kind of the stuff we spoke about last week. I think, which I need to kind of. I'll probably do it after this stream, which is what I said last week. Financial services have the same problem with Japan or countries in the CPTPP. They are. Let's see. They are far from each other, and it's difficult for the UK financial service to work in this country. Yeah, the time zone problem of if you work 9 to 5 right in the UK, how are you going to export your services to a country that's already asleep between your 9 to 5, or finish working for the day? The Kanzuk whatever the Kanzuk UK was a joke. What was it? It's just Kanzuk, isn't it? Yeah, it was a joke. So it's just this whole endeavor was really bad. We've got 30 people here, which is pretty cool. I think it's 30 or 28. On my phone it says 28. On my computer it says 30. So we moved, but this is a thing kind of collapsing on itself. You've got this situation. People can't afford food. There was a few other ones as well. So I checked Task Manager to make sure we're cooking. Going off the back of it, 1 in 5 adults reported in the past 2 weeks they had run out of food and had been unable to afford more. This is in the United Kingdom. This is mad. I'm just loading up these tabs. Yeah, 1 in 20 adults, young adults and renters, the worst hit by cost of living crisis. Go away. Supermarket prices went up by 25% in the last 2 years, much higher than the Bank of England inflation rate. You've got people pulling out their own teeth because they can't access a dentist. People having to drive hundreds of miles to access NHS dentists. I need to call mine up as well. I keep saying that, but I need to sort that out. You've got Brexit import controls. Is the UK ready, and will they push up prices? Yes, 100% they will push up prices. You've got interest rates are less likely to rise, but they're still pretty high. So that's obviously not good. This situation with the co-op where people are just increasing in shoplifting. Co-op figures show that 175,000 instances of crime, of retail crime in the first 6 months of this year, a rise of 35% in the same at the same time last year. So it's gone up significantly. And this is dangerous for staff as well. It's just such a mad situation. Don't talk about that man. Don't talk about that man. That man has triggered me to no end. Retailers losing significant. Again, I'm not going to cry for the retailers. Honestly, he said one store in the West Country had the same individual Target store, our store, stealing thousands of pounds worth of product every single week. There were more stores in many big cities where the viability of stores is being put at risk because of the activities of criminal gangs. And the only concern I have is if these shops disappear, it's going to make it harder for vulnerable people who don't drive, but especially older people as well. It's going to be massively problematic for them, because of the fact that they're not going to be able to access the shops, especially for older people. They don't get a lot of some of them just don't get a lot of family support, and they don't. Jesus Christ, this picture's absolutely terrifying. God damn, that is a scary picture. I'm not using that in the thumbnail. Probably use this or something. Pandemic drops, goes back up. So yeah. Why have I gone back to talking about that? There's more questions. There's another question. It's from Just Saying. Why has Ofcom still allowed Tory MPs to interview other MPs as if they were a presenter? They know it's illegal, but they still persist. Because they don't care. Honestly, all of the regulators, right? A genuine question for the audience, right? Which regulators over the last 5 years have done a good job in the UK? Refresh the page, all right. Which regulators in the UK have done a good job? Oh, there's another question in here. All right, cool. You said refresh the page. Okay. What, a genuine question, right? The government have hollowed them out, but what these people have done is questionable. Okay, and they got pulled. The Ofcom chief got pulled over the select committee. The question is, how did these people get in charge of these agencies? For a start, have they? Are they going to be offered lucrative roles when they leave in these regulators? And the other question is which ones? Look at the rivers, right? It's polluted. The rivers are fully polluted. It takes them forever to get court cases on these brothers, right? Absolutely forever. Hollowed out completely. Shouts out David Cameron. for that one. So you got the EPA trash. You got Ofcom trash. Ofgem, Ofgem are helping these companies make ridiculous profits, comical levels of profits. 90. I think is it British Gas? Was it British Gas this week announced they made 70% increase in profit? 70% or 90% or something like that. Ridiculous. It's like, for what? What did you do? Did you innovate gas? Did you find a new form of gas? Did you manage to monetize the gas that comes out of Tories and Labour? What the hell? So, honestly, all of the none of these regulators have done a good job. The only one you could say has done a good job is probably the National Crime Agency, and I don't know if you call them a regulator really. This just the equivalent of the Feds. So none of the regulators cover themselves in glory here, and that's why. Honestly, that's why they don't care. They don't care, honestly, and that's why they're doing this. Because Ofcom, I wouldn't be surprised if Ofcom do get involved and start doing stuff right. The government will probably just cut their funding anyways. But let's be real, they'll probably get a decent. The people in charge will get decent jobs elsewhere. Is it 900%? Nah, get out of here. Excuse me, sorry. British gas profits. Ain't no waste, 900%. Okay, it's 889%. Apparently, it's for reasons I would not think. So let's see what reasoning this brother gives. They said the bulk of the growth, however, is not down to any trading windfall from high energy prices, but the ability to recover early from trading losses through energy regulator Ofcom's price cap. This sounds like cap, honestly. This sounds like absolute baloney. I'm calling nonsense on this. How much does British Gas earn? Honestly, 900%. They made 900% profit. How do you even yeah, I believe you guys now. 900% monthly real gross domestic product GDP is estimated to have fallen by 0.1% in May after growth of 0.2% in April. GDP has shown no growth in the 3 months. Yeah, I mean this is stagnation. This is genuine stagnation. We'll be lucky to get any considerable growth. It's going to be probably growth, stagnation, slight loss, growth, loss, stagnation, like that. That's what we're going to see here. Genuinely. It's just mental. Centrica is a gas producer and supplier. Ofcom doesn't regulate producers, and there's no way Centrica paid market price. Yeah, that's there is no real regulation on gas production, what kind of energy production really, and that's one of the key problems. But the fact that they've made a 900% profit, mental. Honestly, and this is what I'm saying. They just don't care. None of these regulators care. I guarantee the ones at the EPA who cared are probably just apathetic at this point because nothing they do works, or they just left. They left. I covered one story where this lady who worked at the EPA, she left because she tried and no one would listen. So it's just one of them things where what more can you do if you constantly complain and say we're not doing good enough, and they just say don't care. What do you do at that point? Honestly, so the last question before we go into more topics is from Glasgow Kiss. If there is no money to help families stave off poverty by repealing to the heinous Tory child benefit cap, why are companies like Lloyds and Centrica posting obscene profits of 1,000+%? And can you think of any possible policy, Sir Kid Starver? That was mean, honestly. The fact that people on Twitter were calling him Sir Kid Starver and they mentioned it on ITV was mad. Could implement to fix. Yeah, he's got to get rid of the he's got to get rid of the cap, and he's got to increase the amount that they get in benefits. That's the main thing he can do. He's got to look at the reasons why people, because there's certain caps where if you work a certain amount of hours, you won't receive benefits. So it's there's no incentive for you to work more hours. That's definitely one of the things to look at. But he's got to look at making sure people have base kind of stable finances. That's the most important thing right now, and they need to get rid of this 2-child cap for a start. The fact that they haven't committed to it scares me. But yeah, I've seen him he just get absolutely cooked on Twitter. Honestly, it's just mad. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, this was something I wanted to discuss actually, but I'm trying to let me see if I can find it quickly. I've seen him. He's just getting absolutely rinsed on Twitter. Um, Here it goes. Here it goes. Um, 1 second. Apologies. He said when a child doesn't go to bed hungry and it's him being angry. The fist meme. So that's from Arthur originally, which is hilarious. Um, there's a few more things actually I wanted to. Oh, I haven't got them here. Oh, I didn't. I thought I loaded them, but I didn't. We'll go through these in a minute then. Yeah, there's a lot here I wanted to discuss actually. Oh, you hate to see it. So yeah, we'll start from the top then. There it is. Yeah, look, British gas. Yeah, I did see it on Twitter actually. Staggering 88.9, 889% the increase. Nuts. My boy Ed, spitting facts. Yeah, we'll go through this in a minute, but we'll go through this stuff in a minute. What did I open? We'll leave that be. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to cover actually, a lot more than I anticipated. But he's got to sort the cap out for a start. He's got to look at benefits. I don't. The fact they call him Sir Kid Starver is it's sad, but it's so funny. There are nearly all Tory Ofcom, Ofgem were screw. Yeah, all of them, all of these regulators have failed, honestly. But yeah, going back to Glasgow's question, I think he's got to look at the amount of people giving him benefits and the amount of financial support they're given. The routes out of poverty just aren't there right now. And that's something Labour need to fix. Labour meant to be the party of social mobility. The only mobility I've seen is Starmer abandoning his policies post haste. But according to some people, he had 2 policies and he had 10 positions or something like that. And I don't know what he said after that. The 2-kid rule. So it's basically you receive child benefits for up to 2 children, and after that, I don't think you'll receive anything if you have more than 2 kids. So it's the 2-child cap, and Labour are committed to keeping it, which is tragic. But is it a surprise? No. Actually, do you know what? It is a surprise, to be honest. I would hope Labour would get rid of it, to be honest, but I just with this party right now, there's no hope. I genuinely I've given up, and I'll talk about that some other time. 0 hour contracts. They need to go. Yeah, pledges, policies, commitments, missions, all of that stuff. It's just he's used so many different words, um, to say to offer things, and then he's just taken them away. And it's like, can you really believe anything he said? Like, genuinely, just have a wealth tax. It's simple, but Starmer is courting businesses. But a wealth tax, inheritance tax, things like that. These things will help. But at the same time, like you need stuff that's more sustainable. You need to come up with more you need to create growth, and the only way you're going to do that is through spending. You can't middle manage your way out of the economic problems we have right now. It's just so bad. His fiscal rules are self-imposed. Yeah, I mean he's choosing to do this. It's partly because the electorate are stupid, and they don't understand. That the economy is not. It's not like a household. It's not the same. But the thing is, the Tories have managed to convince people that they've managed to convince people the way the economy works, so your household works. So if you're in debt, you have to tighten your belt, you have to do other stuff. But it's more, you could argue, more like a business where you spend to invest, you speculate to accumulate. To grow your business, you're going to have to spend money. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you make good investments. Like if you make dumb investments, then it's not going to end well. That's the point. But people have been so conditioned to not understand how economics works. It's kind of just doomed this country, honestly. I don't know in which other country do the electorate actually believe this, to actually believe it's this way, but I wouldn't say he's the most dishonest. I'd say Boris Johnson's the most dishonest. I don't think anyone could beat Boris Johnson in a line contest. The guy is he's the best at it. Him and Donald, they are the best liars in the game. Starmer did it. He's pretty up there. He's pretty up there, but Boris, I mean, sure, he's not, but if you want to talk about the king, it's Boris Johnson. It's Nigel Farage is pretty goated as well. In terms of lies. Um, so it's there's a lot there's a lot of I wouldn't say Starmer's the best one. Honestly, I wouldn't. Um, I would give it to someone else. Farage is still a politician. Let's be honest now. Farage will always be a politician. Like, he might not be elected, but he plays the game. Honestly, you still got loads of Brexiteers. You've got like Nadine Dorries, who's like gaslighting her constituents and things like that. You've got Rishi Sunak, who's kind of obsessed with his 5 pledges, even though he's going to achieve none of them. He's already failed. He's failed one already, and the year's not even finished yet. I wouldn't say Starmer is the worst one. So yeah, we're gonna move on to topics. So I've just had an early warning. If you're a poor craftsman, best not borrow to buy tools. Tighten your belt around your. I mean, okay, that's fair enough. Don't forget to click the like. Yes, yeah. Do not forget to click the like button, everyone. So yeah, let's carry on before people make libelous comments. I did want to discuss this one, which is kind of Tory values, and it's just the fact that there is a certain portion of the not the audience, the electorate will just vote for the most stupid parties, honestly, like, and for the Tories, and they just won't care.
Oh, give me some Tory.
Oh, my headphones are turned off. Bear with me 1 second.
Values. Don't give me this socialist lesson. I know you've got something in there for me, Keith. Give me some Tory values that people
Keith, it's ironic because that's what they call that's what they call Starmer.
Would vote for.
Well, it all comes down to creating money, a profit. If there's money in the economy created...
I mean, the Tories are good at creating profits. Look at, British Gas, Shell and BP.
People will be happy. All the services that you just mentioned will be paid for.
Water companies.
SCAP, all the services won't be paid for. Like, even if these companies make more in profit, because the Tories aren't putting the money into the services for a start, and they've also cut, like, a lot of taxes. Well, not a lot of taxes, but they don't tax these companies properly.
That woman who got 5.25 million quid, NatWest, all of this is angry stuff. But I mean, come on, who's taking control of any of this? People feel blimmin' angry at the moment. I don't blame them.
Yes, no, I agree they are, and that's the problem. But the point I'm trying to make is that if Keir Starmer and his party get to power, they're going to make things worse, and I think...
If Keir Starmer and his party get to power, they're going to make things worse. I don't know about his tennis career. The only British dude I know is Andy Murray. Oh, there was Tim Henman. There's Tim Henman as well.
In 7 or 8 years' time, if he's still there...
That's not a reason to vote Tory, is that you're not sure about Keir Starmer. That isn't. I mean, people got to vote for something, not just against the other one. We've had loads of that.
But you can say about Labour, people need to vote for something. What do Labour stand for? Nothing.
No, I agree. What they've got to vote for is wealth creation. And when there's no money... Because Blair, for example, inherited a booming economy, and then 13 years later, he bankrupted the country and almost bankrupted the world.
I think when Blair left office, I think our debt to GDP was like 30% or something like that. It might have been less. Our debt to GDP now is near 100. So this idea that they bankrupt the economy is just nonsense. Even George Osborne admitted Gordon Brown was doing the right things post-recession.
And we're still trying to get out of it. And on top of that,
we're still trying to get out of the 2008 financial crash. This man's on cocaine or something. Like, bro, like, the Tories said, austerity is over in 2017. So the idea we're still trying to get out of the financial crash, over a decade past, I think it must be like 15 years. Honestly, one of the stupidest things I've heard.
We had the recession, the pandemic, and now we had the Putin problem, and the government's been trying to support people financially due to that.
So we've got the pandemic, all of these global problems, but they're not the global financial crash. No people ring LBC anymore. Just I think real people still contact LBC. Patel stopped shoplifting completely. They fiddled the numbers, probably.
400 billion quid's worth, yeah.
What was that?
Had the Putin problem, and the government's been trying to support people financially due to that.
400 billion.
I'm not sure. I think you must be talking about the COVID spending, but this idea that the Tories are creating wealth is just for the top 1%. It's just this is stupid. This whole thing is stupid. The setup, the caller, even the host, not. excuse me, not doing a good job pushing back. It's just terrible. This one's pretty fun.
Two-horse race.
I think Max covered this one, but it's fun.
You might want to vote. You might not want Conservative anymore, but you wouldn't dare waste your vote on the Greens or the Liberals. And
depends where you live. To be fair, if you live in Brighton, then you're not really wasting your vote on the Green Party. And in certain seats, if you vote for Lib Dems, you're not really wasting your vote if the Lib Dems have a shot at winning. It all just depends on what seat you're in.
And of course, with Conservative people, with the people who are very staunch Labour, you do get a lot of, when they're socialist types, with...
There are no socialists on the Labour front bench. There might not be many, even in the kind of Parliament, to be honest with you. So, this argument that Labour are socialists is, have you seen Starmer's policies? Do you know what socialism is? Because I don't think she does.
You're Tories, you're awful people because you vote Tory.
So sorry to interrupt, Jane, will you still vote Tory at the next election then?
I will, but...
He should have pulled her up on the socialist stuff, but he didn't.
Very negatively.
What does that mean? Holding your nose?
I'm not with my whole heart in it.
Right.
I'm only voting. It's a vote that I don't vote that we don't get a Labour government.
What are you afraid of with the Labour government?
I just the past,
What do you mean the past?
Past, well, it's sort of like it's Jeremy Corbyn.
It's a feeling, isn't it? It's just a feeling she has.
Types.
He's not even in the party. Very socialist again. She doesn't know what Starmer's policies are.
Very socialist.
Yeah, but he's not standing, Jeremy Corbyn. His. I mean, the beef of the Corbynistas in the Labour Party is that their politics, their policies, their ideas have been completely stamped on by Keir Starmer.
Yes, I know. But once Labour get back in, they might climb back up. But it's not.
Yeah, it's not going to happen because the centre left will always keep hold of the party. Like we saw this under Tony Blair. Like where was this socialist revolution when Tony Blair was there? Where was this uprising from members of the left of the party? It's just nonsense. It's just noise on Twitter for the most part. This is my personal favourite one. So it's from Georgie Osborne, Austerity King, saying, despite dire results in Selby and Somerton, winning Uxbridge has given the Tories something very precious they didn't have yesterday, hope. Hope is something that George Osborne took away from people, honestly, especially with austerity. But he goes on to say, hope they can get voters focused on what Starmer government would mean for their cost of living. Hope this is more like 92 than 97. George Osborne, this is a guy who Rachel Reeves is saying a lot of the similar things to what George Osborne said. And George Osborne, a Remainer, a guy who was pushed out by the Tory party and the Brexiteers. This is a guy who is still backing the Conservative Party. This is the kind of brain rot in the party where you have people, regardless of what's happening, will keep backing a party that has, pushed our country for economic stagnation for the past decade, has put our debt to... This is what the metrics that they use, right? They talk about debt and they talk about GDP. GDP growth has been minimal. They pushed our debt to GDP massively up, right? And they've just created absolute misery. They've done this for what? What have they achieved by doing this? They've knackered the economy. Nothing here works. It sucks. And yet people are like, oh, it could be worse because Jeremy Corbyn. And you're just like, bruv, he's not even in the party anymore. He's irrelevant. Honestly, this caller, like so many others, have no idea what socialism is. Plus, Corbyn was more like a Nordic social democrat. Yeah, that's the problem. But, people don't understand that because that's nuance. People don't understand actual politics. They don't understand the small p aspect of it. They just kind of... don't get it. That's what's frustrating. This from Rishi Sunak made me laugh as well during the week.
The done deal. The Labour Party's been acting like it's a done deal. The people of Uxbridge just told all of them that it's not. Now, no one...
This is a seat he won by 500 votes, a safe seat.
...expected us to win here, but Steve's victory demonstrates that when confronted with the actual reality of the Labour Party, when there's an actual choice...
When you lie about what ULEZ is.
On a matter of substance at stake, people vote Conservative.
Honestly, imagine this guy, the brass neck on this geezer, right? He won a safe seat by 500 votes, and he was like, when they're confronted with what's going on in the country, they don't want Labour, even though he lost Selby. He lost another Tory safe seat in Selby, but he's got a slight point, which is, people said it's Jenga, the Tory's going to win, guaranteed dub, and that's simply not the case. It's not guaranteed, and this for Labour, is really important. But what Labour have done is go in the opposite direction, which is try to not offend people, honestly. And it's just like, okay then, especially with the ULEZ stuff, like this is the ultra low emission zone is a Tory policy. It was being pushed by I think it was DEFRA. No, it wouldn't have been DEFRA. It would be the Department of Energy. They mandated that Sadiq Khan had to do this, otherwise he would face budget cuts. So it's just stupid, honestly. He's looking a bit more kind of confident. He's like, they said it would be over, but it's not. He's saying it's not over yet, Snake, honestly. But yeah, there's a couple of more things I want to talk about. This made me laugh. So this from Paul Mason, which is funny to my colleagues on the left who spent the past week attacking Starmer and telling voters Labour are just the Tories instead of mobilising for 3 by-elections. Thanks for nothing. So, these people didn't cost you in Selby, but they've cost you in Oxford. It's just, this is one of the stupidest things. I think this guy wants to run as a Labour MP, Paul Mason, so he's kind of changed his tune on a lot of things. But this kind of thing is like you said, like people in the Labour Party or these kind of centre left people say, oh, we don't want your votes or whatever, or leave the party or vote for someone else if you don't like it here. And then once they lose, they're like, oh, why didn't you back us? You were meant to help us get rid of the Tories. This is your fault now. And it's like, no, you have to reach out to the other kind of half of the Labour Party. It's the same thing that Corbyn failed to do, which is appeal to kind of centre left voters. Couldn't do it. He couldn't even appeal to the base for the most part. Some aspects of the base, and this is what Starmer's failing to do. He's failing to kind of unite the centre left, and I mean centre left in, as kind of, he's very close to the centre. Honestly, he's very close to kind of pushing the party towards kind of the right, I guess, on the spectrum, or the spectrum as I would define it. I guess everyone defines it differently. And so he's kind of alienating kind of left-wing voters and people like that. So, and some of these people in Oxford would be students. Why would they vote for the geezer? Honestly, he's offering them nothing. On student finance, he was like, student finance is really bad. The system's really bad. I can do anything about it. No. This is kind of Labour criticising ULEZ. We'll bin this one because it's kind of pointless. This one's pretty funny. This is Greg Hands getting absolutely rinsed.
The party. Greg Hands. Man, I suspect Mr. Hands, welcome to the programme. Thank you for joining us. He's a little bit relieved, is that right?
Well, I think the standout result was the one in Uxbridge. That's the one that people weren't expecting.
Forgive me, we are...
There's not just one person in Laughter, I think that was 2.
Joined, I should explain, by the experts, Professor Sir John Curtis and Chris Mason. I wouldn't be disrespectful enough to laugh at your answer, but they just did.
This idea that, Greg Hands Open Studio was saying standout result was the one in Uxbridge. Like, that was the safe seat. You're meant to keep this. So, he's getting, these guys are getting rinsed because they got nothing. They just genuinely don't know what they're doing here. They can't justify it. This one's Daniel Hanan.
5 years from now, we will be a much more...
So 2021, obviously the pandemic hit.
...prosperous country. 5 years from now, Britain will be flourishing as never before, and people will look back and wonder why we didn't do this long before.
Well, you can't get the Germans to say that. At least
well,
6...
let's see what...
And, Britain is now a poor nation. This is the number one issue we face, yet our leaders ignore it. Thanks, Daniel, for that. So, helping us get into this mess.
It's Imperial.
Rishi Sunak gloating about stopping refugees on small boats.
We are stopping the boats.
So we're at the Lindos Imperial.
He's like, Greek tourists kind of escaping the fires and roads on small boats. I wouldn't say this is an exact parallel with kind of people kind of crossing the channel in small boats from France, but, it's people who have, people who have escaped war zones, absent poverty and other things like that. Are these things as bad as a fire? I mean, both can end your life, and why wouldn't you want to leave a dangerous situation? Like, we've seen massive refugee crisis over the last decade through wars and things like that. Where was the help there? But at least the Greek people helped kind of people get off roads. A lot of these, I think some of these were British tourists, and it's good the Greek kind of population helped them. This one's completely out of pocket. This is I think his name is Nick Campbell, whatever his name is. What bro was doing here is just mad.
Dina Campbell
Sorry.
Coming up in just a second. But right now, what do you want to ask Nigel Farage about? Do you want to ask him about immigration? Do you want to ask him about ULEZ? Do you want to ask him about... Did I say Nigel Farage was coming? I think I introduced you as Nigel Farage. Easy mistake to make, I'm sure.
easy. This has not been dubbed over somewhere. He goes, he introduced Keir Starmer as Nigel Farage, and he's like,
I think I introduced you as Nigel Farage. Easy mistake to make.
what the hell? What is this? Like, yeah, I don't like the direction Keir Starmer's gone as well, but why is bro saying Nigel Farage is the same as Keir Starmer? What is going on here? And then this face, what? It's completely out of pocket. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, when a child doesn't go to bed hungry, Keir Starmer very angry. It's just an odd photo. I don't know why he's like. Maybe it's very strange. What is going on with bro's hand there? There was this as well. If you tackle the climate emergency, vote Labour.
It's the only way you're going to get rid of the Tories, who are making it worse, who are opposing it at almost every point. Policies like the ones in London to actually deal with that problem.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that about voting Labour for climate policies, and I will be voting Labour at the next general election, probably through gritted teeth at this point due to the amount of U-turns that we've
through
seen.
enthusiasm,
but
frankly.
What I would say...
For what, though? These guys, they're boring. They have minimal policies, honestly, like things that, that I would find exciting. Absolutely very little. So, why would we vote Labour out of excitement? It's the best of the worst we have, which is two options.
What I would say, I would vote for enthusiasm if I felt enthusiastic about the policies. But what I would say about this thing, vote for the Labour Party if you want to tackle the climate crisis. I do want to tackle the climate crisis, which is why I'm disappointed to see, Keir Starmer and his office essentially briefing against, Sadiq Khan around ULEZ, for example. I was very pleased to see that ULEZ was passed today in the court to say that we could extend that out to different boroughs. And I would be concerned.
Can bro just chill for a minute?
To see that the Labour Party is now talking about reneging on commitments for climate spending, because I absolutely agree with you. A Green New Deal is very important. And
they've also kind of said that they don't seem to be backing ULEZ anyways, the main Labour Party.
Investing in that Green New Deal is crucial, because if you invest now, it will cost less money in the long run.
No, that's true. What she's saying is, if you plan for it now, it will cost us less money in the long term. But honestly, this guy's saying, Labour pulled back on a promise where they said they'll spend like 28 billion a year or something on green projects. They pulled back from that. I think it's going to be like 28 billion over the term, which is, it's better than the Tories. But it's like, am I going to get excited over that when you've just pulled back massively from a policy that would actually help the economy and help the country? And also kind of help the world deal with climate change? No, that's not exciting. You saying, we're going to give you kind of less. This from Simon Jenkins. I think this is a guy who's very much against Corbyn, saying Britain is in a desperate need of radical ideas, so where are Labour's? I mean, this is what you wanted, the centrists, the boring people.
Mr Farage, pretty much whatever you do, there are people saying, I know what this is about, he wants to get back into politics again. I know you've run 7 times and lost 7 times, but
I'm really not going to have this. I'm sick to death of your condescending tone. It's about...
He's triggered, honestly. What a snowflake.
Mr Farage, pretty much whatever you do, there are people saying, I know what this is about, he wants to get back into politics again. I know you've run 7 times and lost 7 times, but
I'm really...
He's getting cooked. He's just getting cooked, honestly. It's just hilarious. Someone saying, I voted for Brexit and I heard it wouldn't affect us. Now I can't live... What's the rest of this article say? So I didn't bother to click it. Now I can't live in my 13,000... Oh, God damn it. His £13,000 villa, I'm guessing. Wait, 13 grand? Wait, that can't be right. His 13,000 Italian house. How does he get a house in Italy for 13k? Wow, Max must be doing alright if you can buy a house for 13k in Italy. God damn. Maybe I'm gonna have to move as well. 13k for a house. Mad. Yeah, you can't even buy a box for that much. Which party would improve your life? So you've got Labour versus Conservatives. Got 34% voting in Labour. Conservatives 21%. Neither at 45%. How are neither on 45%? Genuinely, neither. People saying neither of them will improve their life. It's mad. This one, Bridget Phillipson. Where's the actual one? Saying, imagine having an education secretary who's lived child poverty, whose life was changed by great state education, who's 100% focused on making sure all kids get the best start in life. So, are Labour going to invest more money into schools and teachers? Considering they keep saying we can't afford that, are they going to get rid of things like the 2-child cap so kids don't go to school hungry? Are they going to give schools funding so they can actually fund free school meals? No, is the answer to all of those questions. So, this is just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. 4 times ITV asked Labour whether it stands by its past public commitments to abolish the bedroom tax if the party took over. So that's, say, if you live in a 3-bed house and there's only 2 people there, the government cut the amount of money you received in housing benefit because you had a spare room. And so, the Labour are committed to keep the bedroom tax. They're committed to keeping the 2-child cap. What is the point, honestly? If you wanted George, we've got George Osborne at home here. Honestly, this is what this is. This is what Rachel Reeves is turning out to be. They're talking about China's emissions and things like that. One of the main problems with China is that, not problems, but we import so much from China. It's gonna mean their emissions are gonna be higher than ours. You got Nadine Dorris now wants to report Flitwick Council to the Electoral Commission because they published a letter that they sent to her saying she should resign, which she probably should do because she said she would. Honestly,
that ULEZ expansion does need to be.
Oops, that's a bit loud.
Looked at again. So would you welcome a delay if that was the court's decision?
So the court's actually sided with Sadiq Khan, and so there won't be a delay. The government tried to stop it, but a bunch of council tried to stop it, but.
We're right. Keir Starmer has asked the Mayor of London to look at this again, to rethink. But we know that there's an issue about.
So you've got all of these problems with climate change. You can see, kind of grease on fire here. And you've got Labour saying, well, we're going to pull back on actual green policies. Okay, then.
The cost of living crisis affecting people right across the country. And that was an issue that came up as part of the Uxbridge by-election. And so that...
Oh, that makes sense.
That's why Keir Starmer has asked the Mayor of London by-election. And that was an issue that came up as part of the Uxbridge by-election.
So why didn't you say this is a Tory policy? It's like, this is one the Conservatives won, and a Labour MP is, a Labour, kind of mayor is kind of forced to implement it because of budget cuts or, the potential budget cuts. Why didn't you campaign and actually push back on it? These people, right? They get slight criticism. They're like, they run away from their actual positions. It's terrifying.
And so that's why Keir Starmer has asked the Mayor of London to rethink on.
And Sadiq Khan didn't.
Is an important example to that because we do.
The financial burden of ULEZ, I don't know what I don't know how bad the impact of ULEZ is going to be. This guy puts the videos up so loud, on people. I think, look, if it's the case that your car, doesn't, your car's going to face emission charges, right? There should be a way that you can kind of scrap your car, have it so it's recycled, and have funding towards a car that is ULEZ compliant. I agree with that 100%. Because it makes sense on so many different levels. You can't tell people you can't drive your car and we're not going to help you, which isn't what Sadiq Khan's doing. But there are cases, and he's had phone-ins on LBC where people have said, look, I tried to see if my car can fit the scheme so I can receive funding from it if it's scrapped, or funding towards a new car, and they've not been eligible for it. I don't think the government have specifically not funded the London Mayor one properly. I have seen some people say it's because Sadiq Khan's a Muslim and Rishi Sunak's a Hindu, therefore there's beef there. I don't think so. I think this is purely political. It could be a Christian dude who's Mayor of London or whatever religion. I think they've done this because the Mayor of London is probably the most kind of not public facing, but the most kind of up there in terms of mayors. It's the most public one. It's the one that most people know of. I don't think a lot of people know about who the mayor of Birmingham is, for example. I think he's a Tory dude. Most people, I don't think, wouldn't know Andy Burnham, but I reckon a lot of people have heard of Sadiq Khan, especially because Sadiq Khan has a higher profile because he gets criticised a lot more than he probably should do because he's Asian. But yeah, this stuff here is just stupid.
To do these transitions where they're not going to be automatically cheaper for people, like renewable energies, for example, where there is a burden, a financial burden on people to make that transition. We've got to do that in a fair way, and we've got to do that in a way that supports people.
So are you going to fund the ULEZ schemes properly then? Because I thought you guys keep telling us there's no money.
And that's why we have got these big investments planned nationally for when we're in government to ensure, that there is that fair, just transition. And that's why Keir Starmer has been speaking to Sadiq Khan about whether he can reflect to consider whether there are other ways that he can mitigate that cost of transition for people.
Well, obviously he can't, because if he could do it, he would. That's the problem, because the government have chosen not to fund it properly.
With the expansion of the ULEZ zone, and the government could do more on that. like they have done in other cities, because, of course, it's the government who've legally mandated places like London to tackle clean air. It's a legal...
So why didn't you say this in the run-up to the Uxbridge election? Why was Labour not saying this?
...mandation, but they're then not bringing in that extra support to help people with the transition. And that's where Labour and the Conservatives really differ, because we think it's really important to make sure we have a fair transition here and that people can afford to do it. And we,
this is where public transport can come in. Maybe you can replace people using cars so much with buses or trains and things like that. But it's just so stupid. Or convince them to use their car less. But honestly, it's just they're saying, oh, maybe it needs to be funded properly. It's like, but I thought you said we have no money. So how can you turn around and say, oh, we're going to fund it properly? It needs to be funded properly when your consistent line is we're broke. This is the 8.99 thing percentage. This is Ed Miliband here. This clip's so loud. This is Ed Miliband saying...
As they see it, do right by their shareholders. The responsibility of government is to do right by the British people.
And, he's right... Oh, it's an awkward pause there. Sorry, Ed. The point of private companies is that they are beholden to their shareholders, because if they think you haven't maximised profits for their returns, they can vote you out. And so... if the government did have kind of their own kind of companies, which they ran, and it was to be run in the benefit of the government, you can run kind of nationalised services that are run properly, and they will make a return for the taxpayer and also benefit the public. I think I was in the live chat, but behind on the stream. Oh, that does happen. That does happen, yeah.
Any easier either. Just this week, the BBC reported that every available property now has, on average, more than 20 people competing for it, with rental costs soaring as well.
This is a situation where, like, some landlords have sold up. So I think the ones who have kind of freehold properties have a massive advantage here. And so this is a problem in cities that we've seen, but I think it's more widespread, especially now, which is that you got 20 viewings per flat. So what they can do is they can charge you astronomical amounts for rent, because if you're not eligible for a mortgage, you're going to be in trouble because you're going to be paying stupid amounts in rent. And the problem is, like, banks are like, oh, you need to earn enough to make sure obviously you can repair the house and stuff like that if things go wrong. But it doesn't matter how much you earn. Like, if your roof caves in for whatever reason, or if you face catastrophic water damage, even if you're on 40 Gs or whatever a year, that's going to be very, very difficult for you to fix that if you face structural damage anyways. The way the banks kind of calculate how much money you need, I think, is ridiculous. This take here was really weird. This is David Baddiel, who is probably one of the worst people in the world. No, take it back, in the country. Whereas Oppenheimer liked to pretend he wasn't Jewish. I think it's like the film. Yet again, a major movie cast a non-Jew to play a famous Jew. This may be part of a deeper erasure of Jewish people. So you're saying, like, the guy they needed to play Oppenheimer had to be Jewish? Like, all right, mate. This is the era global warming has ended. So the era of global warming has ended. The era of global boiling has arrived. Yeah, we're getting cooked. I haven't watched the film, honestly. I haven't watched it. I don't really watch movies. Yeah, this is the Campbell clip. Yeah, British gas owner Centrica has announced it's almost doubled its first half yearly profits to 2.1 billion. This comes 2 years after British Gas used a fire and rehire scheme against workers. Mad, honestly. Oh wait, I might get copyright claim for this, but this is hilarious. So I'm just going through my Twitter timeline. This Aaron Ramsdale failing to save a goal. It was really funny. Shared that with people. And
then shortly after,
this is one of the situations where it links in with the other clip we spoke about, which is the fact that people's rents are becoming astronomical, and these landlords can do what they want because they have options.
Our contract was capped at a 5% per year increase, and then shortly...
A 5% per year increase, so they could increase it every year by 5% regardless of any external factors, which obviously in itself is stupid, because your costs don't increase 5% each year.
After...
they're going to stay lower than 5.
The mortgage crisis and interest rate situation happened, we were contacted asking to raise our rent by 12%. In response to that, we cited our contract and basically said, well, we have a capped contract, and then following that, very shortly afterwards, received a Section 21 notice.
So how did it feel?
So Section 21 notice is basically a no-fault eviction. which is like the landlord can just evict you even if you have a contract. Yeah, David Baddiel did blackface as well.
When you got that email telling you
Twitter, when they demanded, Twitter hasn't demanded that like recently. Like, I don't know when they demanded it, but in I've never been asked.
You were being evicted.
It's very upsetting because it's sort of a situation in which you're quite powerless. There is very little I can do to sort of stay in this place that I've lived in for the past 4 years, which
4 years is a long time, honestly. You know, you kind of build your life around that. You know, make it personal and things like that.
Has been my home.
Every day becomes a lot more
Rent
stressful.
rise by 50%. Jesus Christ, honestly, that's nuts. 50%.
A lot more insecure.
Yeah.
That's really affected you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think's behind your Section 21?
I think there's a bit of a panic in relation to the renters reform bill. I think they don't know if they're going to be able to do Section 21 evictions anymore in, I don't know, 6 months' time. And so they're just trying to squeeze as much profit out as possible or sell up, move things out of the way.
It's possible they want to get rid of these two to kind of get them to move out, sell the house, or it's possible that they know that there's a limited amount of rental properties. So, you know, why not, you know, force them to pay more, honestly, or, you know, this lot leave and they get in new people.
There are people.
That's the one we mentioned that one already. Sunak kind of threatening more towards asylum seekers. Britain's economy will outperform Germany this year, the IMF admits, and this is the Telegraph kind of running with it, even though they were back at pre-pandemic levels and we weren't. You know, landlords buying properties as investments, you know, buy-to-let landlords.
Encourage some landlords to advance their plans. They've taken that decision to issue Section 21 notices now because they don't want to be left with just the Section 8 route.
And he says more regulation is one of the factors driving landlords out of the market.
With the increase in mortgage rates, a lot of landlords are looking to sell. We're working towards...
So this lot made investments, right? Borrowed money they didn't have, made investments, and now that the investment's going south, they are taking out on the people who live in these houses.
At some stage in the next 4 or 5 years, exiting the market completely. That process has probably been sped up as a result of changes to the legislation around the private rental sector in the last 4 or 5 years particularly. On a personal level, I've got 7 properties I'm losing money on month by month.
Let's all play a tiny violin.
We've got some long-term tenants, and I want to look after them. It needs, no matter what rent I charge, it needs to be affordable for the people in the properties.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, obviously it's got to be affordable for the people in the properties, but, you know, this dude, you know, he's crying about, he's saying, I've got 7 properties, I'm losing money month by month. So this man has potentially 7 mortgages he has taken out that he obviously couldn't afford, you know, the properties because he had to take out 7 mortgages. Maybe he leveraged them against each other, I don't know. But his investment's gone south, and at the end of the day, it's the people in these houses that suffer because he's either going to increase the rents on them because his investment's gone up in costs, or he's going to look to kick them out and sell the houses, which obviously is not what you want to see. You know, Rishi Sunak attacking kind of Labour. This is what we're up against, the Labour Party, a subset of lawyers, criminal gangs. They're all on the same side, propping up a system of exploitation that profits from getting people into the UK illegally. I have a plan to stop it. And, you know, this is him just attacking the Labour Party, saying they're a bunch of, you know, they're involved with criminal gangs. Oh, that's a lot of sport here. That's the fight of the weekend. I don't want to get a copyright claim, but I probably will because I played the football clip, honestly. You know, obviously, this tweet from Sangeeta saying this tweet from Rishi Sunak directly links the Labour Party with criminal gangs. Quite possibly something from the Prime Minister who promised to restore professionalism and integrity. We are really approaching politics kind of in the mud here. This is just so many sports. These are honestly two parties who are just happy to just kind of just throw hands at this point. You've got the government investing £680 million for a high-speed rail in Turkey, which is nuts. I just don't get it. This was an interesting bit from this is a bit from Emily Matler saying it takes really something for Labour Party to bury one of its biggest successes in its history over ULEZ. This is them winning the safe seat. It is something, honestly. I think this is in Ireland, to be fair, this story here. But it's just the brother of a pensioner saying like his I think it's his brother needs additional help because he's a senior citizen who can't look after himself, and there's no one to actually look after him outside of his family. You probably need to refresh the stream. If it's only got 2 likes, then I've either done something wrong or the people have let me down. Which one is it? It's got 26 likes, so we're good. We're good. You just gotta refresh the stream. You know, government NIMBYs. So I'm just kind of running through stuff I've kind of retweeted and found interest in during the week. But yeah, you know, I found this tweet funny. This is from an MSP. Once again, from a Tory. Yes, once again, it looks like the UK will be the only major European country where the far right doesn't have parliamentary representation. The liberal small I tradition we have is something to be proud of, and distinguishes us from many or most EU members. The liberal tradition we have is something to be proud of. What liberal tradition do we have, big man? Honestly, yeah. For a start, the other problem is, you know, arguing that the UK is the only major European country where the far right doesn't have parliamentary representation. No, you're talking about a country which has really kind of gone after refugees amongst other things. We have the far right in charge. Let's be honest. And I'm not talking about kind of the authoritarians. I'm not talking Nazis or anything like that. But you know, there are levels to the far right, obviously. But you know, there is the far right. They are the far right. This tweet I found interesting. I think I mean, they phrase this really badly. So I think it's a double negative there, which is a weird thing to do. But you know, there's not. I think there's a not insignificant chance that Labour don't win the next election, at least not outrightly. I mean, if that happens, this is the biggest election fade I've ever seen. Saying I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked. One of Europe's highest ever temperatures are possible for Monday in Sicily. 46C or 48C. Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, honestly. That's mental. If you know, 48C. Comic stuff. This was a wild story, you know. So I don't think it's the best stream, but yeah, you've got, this is where, you know, kind of a bunch of police officers arrested this lady here for apparently not paying for the bus when she did pay for the bus, and then kind of the Met Police trying to play defense on that. That didn't end well. I think we're pretty much done. These are the other clips I wanted to kind of discuss. I've got to kind of reorganize it for the week's videos. What I'll do is I'll probably sort the videos out today, and then just get rid of all these tabs and move on to new stuff. But anyways, if you guys want to see some crisp boxing quickly, we'll cover that quickly. Body jab, right hand, guy gets up.
The prowess, the technical ability, especially with the jab. Forget the power.
This stream's so going to get copyrighted just for that moment, but you know, it's a big week in boxing, and shouts out to my boy anyway, got a win. So I just kind of, I thought I had this stuff open, but I didn't. You can see I've got a billion tabs open. I need to get better at organising the stream stuff, honestly. Yeah, thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. But yeah, we've got the new microphone. Hopefully it's kind of improved the audio a bit. If it hasn't that much, then I might just return it. But I think, judging by the levels, it should have done better. I didn't want to. Yeah, I think I've just got to move away from the microphone if we're going to drink and stuff like that. But at least I don't think it's picking up as much background noise as the microphone normally does. But yeah, you know, if it sounds the same, then I'm not too impressed. But if it sounds better than my old one, I mean, my old one cost me 15 quid. I think it's like 20 quid now. The audio is much better. Yeah, I've upped the gain on this one, so the audio should be louder. And the hope is that it doesn't pick up the background noise. That's kind of the hope. So, you know, like my plan is like stuff, you know, people talk outside and whatever, you're not going to be able to hear it, because I've had problems where like you can hear the background noise. You can hear my words now. What was going on before? Thoroughly enjoyed the stream. Kept having to disappear to deal with my 10-day-old grandson. Fair enough. Brave men literally attacking all Pakistani men. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Dimitrov, I agree with that, actually. You know, I completely forgot about that. 100% I agree with that. It's better, yeah. I mean, if it's better, that's the main thing. Honestly, like, I've been wanting to level up the channel for a while. You guys, if I get that soundboard, it's all over, though. It's all over. These streams are going to be ridiculously stupid. It's going to be goofy as hell. Because, you know, we'll go back to, you know, it's gonna be, you know what the streams are gonna be like. I can tell you what they're gonna be like. I can tell you, it's gonna be me playing stupid clips like this. I'll show you quickly. So in this segment, double match. It's gonna be me playing clips like this, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.
Now you've got all the time in the world to play golf.
It's gonna be me having stupid clips like that ready. Where's the other one? Is it here? Yeah, it is. You know what? When I put this video together, I didn't realize I could play I had these clips, but then after I remembered this episode. Johnny. Wait. Who's
the loser now, Johnny?
Oh, you don't understand how happy I was to be able to throw these clips in here, and I'm glad this video actually did numbers. It's got 11k views, which is nuts. Let me see if I can find. Where did I throw in the other clip? Oh, can I not find it? I'm gonna be upset if I can't find it. Can't lie. Is it here somewhere? Oh no, pain. It was somewhere here, wasn't it? It's when he was talking to Kate, whatever her name is. It doesn't matter. Anyways, that was fun. New banner. Check that out. Looks dope. The audio was too low in volume. Is it still too low? Oh, that's not the mic. It's the compressor I use. So what happens is because some of these audio clips are too quiet or too loud, the compressor I've got on is it's aggressive. I need to tweak it. The problem is, right, I'll show you. If I bring up my OBS, can you guys see? It's going to look a bit weird because it's double recording. Your tabs are... I tell you people, right, don't talk about the tabs, all right? I'm tired of it. Don't mention the tabs, all right? Just don't stop doing it. So... can you see OBS on the screen or not? So this is OBS, right? This is what I used to stream. So the situation is like, if you see... volume is fine now, too low recently. So the problem is, right, so this is my voice here in green and yellow. And so if I play a video clip, if the audio is down here, or if it's up here, I have to put an audio compressor on. And so what that does is, it tries to force the audio to the same level. Let's see if I can... I'm trying to think of something. I don't want to hear my own voice, that's the problem. Let's see if I can find anything on the old feed. Oh yeah, No Justice is not going to copyright me, right? So if I play... Let's hope she doesn't copyright me. So if I play, for example, there's No Justice...
I thought there were going to be no uncosted policies at all. But here you are saying we're going to find money from nowhere to assuage Lorraine's concerns around the scrappage scheme.
So you can see kind of the audio levels. Her audio is about here, right, which is fine. But if, for example, it's going to be a bit messy because I'm trying to explain this without using my two screens. If her audio is this loud...
Make sure that she can afford to upgrade her vehicle to avoid...
And so you can see my audio is here, her audio is down here. So the only way I can fix that is through a compressor.
That requires state funding, and it's a random person he's trying to convince in a talk.
So the way I would have to fix that is with the compressor. So it kind of pushes the audio down both with each other. So maybe I've got it on too aggressive because I'm not trained in how to sort this stuff out. Like normally you have like a trained sound person, like a producer to deal with this. But producer Maj is... Bro, what did I just... No, we don't talk about the tabs here. We don't mention the tabs. No one mentioned the tabs. All right? You just mention the tabs, all right? Got this all through university. Got this all now. You know, we don't mention the tabs, all right? Just no one talk about... Look at my RAM usage, okay? We don't discuss this. Okay, no one talks about this, all right? It's what the one rule on this channel, one of the few rules I have on the channel is never question man's Google tabs, right? So the problem I have is that, like with the sound stuff, if the audios match, it's generally fine. The problem is sometimes I'm like away from the microphone a bit, or my voice kind of goes down because I'm tired or whatever. Exactly, don't mention the tabs. Tell them again, Larry. So if the audio is down here, that's a problem. If the audio is up here, it's a problem. And so I used the compressor, but I think the compressor's probably been too aggressive. Also, you should check out No Justice's channel if you're... she does good content. But yeah, I have some second channel stuff there. But point being is, let me move my OBS back before I get mega confused, and I give this bad class on Exactly. Don't mention what exactly. You don't want to hear it. But point being is that yeah, it's just the audio is hard to match. Max does it a lot better than I do, which is credit to him. Honestly, like his audio levels are generally fine. So he might use different. I think he uses different software to me and probably different methods. So I'm gonna tweak the compressor. I'm gonna try and tweak the compressor. The problem is the only guy I know who knows about this stuff. He's quite hard to get a hold of most of the time. He's my guy though, so I respect him. But he's difficult to get a hold of. But point being is like, maybe fix the. Oh my days! You guys just don't listen to. I'm getting cooked by the audience. You hate to see it. But yeah, but anyways, it's just the audio problem. It's like monitoring the Scottish player. I don't know. I'm getting. Let me see if I can find it quick.
Up on the tables or what?
Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
This is definitely going to be on the soundboard. 100%.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked. Same thing.
This is genuinely my favourite clips I've ever seen. Just so good.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
It's just,
oh, yeah.
What led to... Like, I watched the full interview, and it's just this whole thing, right?
Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
So funny. But, yeah. Anyways, as I give in this bad lesson on... someone's give a crocodile deck build. Oh, you'd love to see it. I did quite well with this deck against my friend today. I'm getting very sidetracked now. We're going to end the stream. We're going about an hour and a bit. If you do watch the stream back, I appreciate it. I know some people watch it after. That's kind of how I watch Luke Thomas's chat, because I listen at 1.5 speed because I'm a lunatic. But some people just, they can't. But it's not for everyone, the 1.5, the 1.25 speed. And I would love to play more of my favorite clips here, but I don't want to get copyrighted by people. Yeah, honestly, what more is there to say apart from like, comment, subscribe? Thanks for everyone for the comments and stuff. I don't know what was going on in the comment section most of the time, but that's how we roll. But yeah, I'll catch you hopefully next Saturday, and yeah, we'll do more topics. If you have questions, post them in this community section here. Live chat. Just call this one live chat 11. So I just the old copy paste. Oops. What have I done? No, I must click the F button. Hit it with the community post 11. So if you've got any questions, I wonder, did anyone sneak any more in? No one else snuck any more in. You'll have to see it. If you've got any more questions, post it here in the community section. If you don't know where the community section is, go to my channel. This is the home screen. This is the page you'll be greeted with. You will see community. You will see here, here's the community section for live chat 11. Hopefully the audio's come through okay. And yeah, I'll catch you all hopefully next Saturday. I don't think I've got stuff planned in the morning, but I should be free in the evening. I will try and sort this stuff out as well. But yeah, good evening. Sounds aggressive. I don't know what more to say apart from I'll catch you next week. Bye bye.